The Art of Worldly Wisdom, Baltasar Gracian. Knowledge and good intentions together ensure a continuance of success. A fine intellect wedded to a wicked will was always an unnatural monster. A wicked will envenoms all excellence. Helped by knowledge, it only ruins with greater subtlety. 'Tis a miserable superiority that only results in ruin. Knowledge without sense is double folly. Vary the mode of action, not always the same way, so as to distract attention, especially if there be a rival. Not always from first impulse. They will soon recognize the uniformity, and by anticipating, frustrate your designs. It is easy to kill a bird on a wing that flies straight, not so one that twists. Nor always act on second thoughts. They can discern the plan the second time. The enemy is on the watch. Great skill is required to circumvent him. The gamester never plays the card the opponent expects, still less that which he wants. Application and ability. There is no attaining eminence without both, and where they unite there is the greatest eminence. Mediocrity obtains more with application than superiority without it. Work is the price which is paid for reputation. What costs little is little worth. Even for the highest post, it is only in some case application that is wanting, rarely the talent. To prefer moderate success in great things and eminence in a humble post has the excuse of a generous mind, but not so to be content with humble mediocrity when you could shine among the highest. Thus nature and art are both needed, and application sets on them the seal. Arouse no exaggerated expectations on entering. It is the usual ill luck of all celebrities not to fulfill afterwards the expectation beforehand or of them. The real can never equal the imagined, nor is it easy to form ideals, but very difficult to realize them. Imagination weds hope and gives birth to much more than things are in themselves. However great the excellence, they never suffice to fulfill expectations. And as men find themselves disappointed with their exorbitant expectations, they are more ready to be disillusioned than to admire. Hope is a great falsifier of truth. Let skill guard against this by ensuring that fruition exceeds desire. A few creditable attempts at the beginning are sufficient to arouse curiosity without pledging one to the final object. It is better that reality should surpass the design, and is better than was thought. This rule does not apply to the wicked, for the same exaggeration is a great aid to them. They are defeated amid general applause, and what seemed at first extreme ruin comes to be thought quite bearable. A man of the age. The rarest individuals depend on their age. It is not everyone that finds the age he deserves, and even when he finds it, he does not always know how to utilize it. Some men have been worthy of a better century, for every species of good does not always triumph. Things have their period. Even excellence are subject to fashion. The sage has one advantage. He is immortal. If this is not his century, many others will be. The art of being lucky. There are rules of luck. It is not all chance with the wise. It can be assisted with care. Some content themselves with placing themselves confidently at the gate of fortune, waiting till she opens up. Others do better and press forward and profit by their clever boldness, reaching the goddess and winning her favor on the wings of their virtue and valor. But on a true philosophy there is no other umpire than virtue and insight, for there is no luck or ill luck except wisdom and the reverse. A man of knowledge to the point. Wise men arm themselves with tasteful and elegant erudition, a practical knowledge of what is going on, or not of the common kind, but more like an expert. They possess a copious store of wise and witty sayings and of noble deeds, and know how to employ them on fitting occasions. More is often taught by a jest than by the most serious teaching. Pat knowledge helps some more than the 7 arts, be they ever so liberal. Be spotless, the indispensable condition of perfection. Few live without some weak point, either physical or moral, which they pamper because they could easily cure it. The keenness of others often regrets to see a slight defect attaching itself to a whole assembly of elevated qualities, and yet a single cloud can hide the whole of the sun. There are likewise patches on our reputation which ill will soon finds out and is continually noticing. The highest skill is to transform them into ornament. So Caesar hid his natural defects with the laurel. Keep the imagination under control, sometimes correcting, sometimes assisting it, for it is all important for our happiness and even sets the reason right. It can tyrannize and is not content with looking on, but influences and even often dominates life, causing it to be happy or burdensome according to the folly to which it leads. For it makes us either contented or discontented with ourselves. Before some it continually holds up the penalties of action and becomes the mortifying lash of these fools. To others it promises happiness and adventures with blissful delusion. It can do all this unless the most prudent self-control keeps it in subjection. Know how to take a hint. 'Twas once the art of arts to be able to discourse. Now 'tis no longer sufficient. We must know how to take a hint, especially in disabusing ourselves. He cannot make himself understood who does not himself easily understand. But on the other hand, there are pretended diviners of the heart and lynxes of the intention. The very truth which concern us most can only be half spoken, but with attention we can grasp the whole meaning. When you hear anything favorable, keep a tight rein on your credulity. If unfavorable, give it the spur.